As Yamada Sensei introduced, I'm going to discuss with you about peace and development. As you know, actually, the discourse of peace actually quite hot and so dynamic, because the definition of peace can be different from one perspective to other perspective, right? Peace from the modern thought can be different from the postmodern thought. So, but here I think I will just make a very simple definition of peace. You don't have to agree with that. You can have your own definition on peace. You can find many references for that. Yeah, peace in my thought is about how the people can access the basic needs facilitated by the political structure or by their own culture. So this is about the basic needs. If you remember John Barton's theory about basic needs, I think this is my my idea is initiated by his theory. Well, in Indonesia we have more than 417 ethnic groups. It's very large. It's very diverse, and the most diverse ethnic groups in this world. Yeah, and we have more than 17,000 islands. Yeah, 17,000, more than 17,000 islands. Well, actually, what I want to say, that in Indonesia we have diverse ethnic groups, diverse languages, means we have diverse interests. Yeah, so interest will be in the basic of the conflict management and peace development itself. My question is, I think until now, if I'm even in my own class or invited by other universities, this is the question that never be solved. Just simple. What is interest? What is the definition of interest? Anyone can help me? You want to help me? The definition of interest? Nobody wants to guess what is interest? Maybe
like for personal, what you want to have for personal gain, I guess.
Yeah.
There's many different definitions, and maybe depends on the context. For example, you're doing this something because it's in the long run you have this interest of gaining everything.
This is what I define what is interest. It's a subjective desire or wants. That's right. That needs or must. So need and must will give a different consequences to the form of action. It will be negotiated or not negotiated, negotiable or unnegotiable. Yeah. So must be fulfilled by material and non-material resources. Material resources, money, land, house. In Afghanistan, yeah, land, etc. And non-material, ideology, love, feeling, values. What is it? Now, the question, if we go deeper, like my question, what is values? It will be more complicated. It will need more longer time. Okay, and the actor create and reproduce action based on the level of need and must. So everyday life of our action actually driven by need or must. Yeah, to gain what Mandi said, to gain material or non-material resources. So just imagine in a diverse society like in Indonesia, every actor has interest. Every day they create action. Yeah, and need or must be fulfilled. When I define peace as a process of actor can be individual or group, and their access to basic needs means they every day needs to be fulfilled their basic needs. Yeah, they need to fulfill their basic need. So, and we talk very generally first, and this is what this Indonesia as a state. The main function of state is to create peace. This is one of the perspective in peace democracy. Yeah, peace can be defined many things. So it depends on your country or in my country or any country define peace. In our constitutional in the constitution, usually the political elites or the states define peace. Yeah, and this is very simple illustration. Oh, sorry. This is sorry. I think I need to close this part. Yeah, state. Oh, the format is changed. When as the state functions in peace democracy concept is to create peace, to realize peace in our society. And then the people, the actors, individual and groups, has access to the basic needs at the different level of their basic needs to be or must be. Yeah. So this is the relation, the function of state. Then the state create the structure, the political structure, and a democratic state. The modern state create a trias politica. How to pronounce that? Trias politica, right? Trias politica, executive, legislative, and then what is it? Judiciative, yes. Yeah. That is the basic structure of the state to create peace. And who the actors in that structure? That is the question, right? Actually, the people itself. The people belongs. The people who belong power. And through the structure, they mandate their power to the power to some people that then we name these people as elites, political elites. So the political elites then create a political party as a mechanism in a modern state, yeah, and then democracy. Modern state and democracy is quite close, the concept. But shortly, there is a process, and I will make a shortcut. Actually, just it's like from that normative concept to the recent condition in Indonesia. Recently, the government or the regime is the second period. The name is Joko Widodo, President. Yeah, and Joko Widodo, the President Joko Widodo, is the quite strong figure because he tries to implement democracy, the principle of democracy. Yeah, and I think his position in this global society is quite strong also. When the global economic crisis globally hit many countries, Indonesia can survive because of his approach. So, and then in the second period, President Joko Widodo has the national strategies. Previously, in the strategies is only focus on the infrastructure development. This is very, quite infrastructure development in Indonesia is criticized by many sides, even development process. And now the second period, the government create these national strategies: human capital development, infrastructure development, deregulation, debureaucratization, economic transformation. This is the national strategies to create peace. Yeah. The problems. Let's come to the problem. Can you see? This is the normative way, right? This is very normative. The problems when we have very diverse interests, which is manifested in many interest groups, an ethnicity group, religious groups, and a group of agraria or land groups, and then multi-parties. Indonesia has multi-parties system, and then also we have political and economy elites, yeah, and military elites. They are so strong in Indonesia, and those actors and issues, those actors and their interests create a political conflict in Indonesia. It's quite very strong. What I mean by political conflict is not only about how the group tries to get power in the political structure using formal procedures of democracy like general election now. Using that term, monkey, to the Papuan people. Even they know that actually that term will increase the anger of the Papuan society. It's like, yeah, it's intentionally created. And then by the process, day by day, the Papuan society created rallies. And then the next week, a change into horizontal conflict between Papuan society, the indigenous Papuan society, sorry, and then also the between the indigenous Papuan society and then from the immigrant or with the other Indonesian society from different ethnics. And more than 30 citizens were killed by the horizontal conflict. Yeah. And I said, this is not about ethno-religious conflict. This is about political conflict. Then the president has to approach from the political conflict side. That is the thing. So that way, even the police and military force sent to Papua, the conflict is there. Because actually, in one of my perspective, actually, the conflict is intentionally created, designed by elites. Yeah, the elites who control power. President, in a very formal thing, theory, accommodate the rival during the presidential election, and the name is Bapak Prabowo. Suddenly Prabowo invited to the palace, to the office of president, to be the Minister of Defense. This is very strategic position. How come? There is no any historical action in that such president's decision, Indonesian president decision. The rival during the general election, the president election, become the ministry of the government. That is what I mean by pangku or mangku credit, hold in arms. And many politicians from the opposite side, from the rival, accommodated. But the term accommodation is very formal political theory, because there is a new approach of another approach, communications using a very local language amongst the elites. And what happened? After approaching them, the finishing these things, the political elites after the campaign, yeah, suddenly can be said Indonesian political atmosphere is very warm in a positive uh, and positive meaning, yeah. So very stable, so stable. Nobody shout the nobody, from different just say opposition, yeah, from the opposition party, they don't speak loud anymore, and they said that is a good decision. So this is very these problems then solved by the approach of the president, because there is no note and political history in this world by accommodating this. And recently, Indonesian politics is so stable. Yeah, so stable. This is what I mean by the approach in politics. We have, just say we have two conditions. We have two conditions, or we have two options, only two options to handle the political conflict in Indonesia. First, contending actions means zero-sum game. Yeah, the winner takes all. The loser die. Is it the good option? No, in Indonesian politics, or maybe in many countries also, actually, right? So, what in a formal approach of theory, actually, what the president did is reconciliation, make a reconciliation, but not only stop in the reconciliation process, that okay, I forgive you, you forgive me, not like that, but you take a strategic position in Indonesian political structure, and please, this is in a very informal way, and please work for Indonesia with your ideas and any concepts during your political campaign. So this is the reconciliation, and it works. It really works. I don't know if it happened in Malaysia or in Netherlands or in Afghanistan. It can be different, or maybe you can imitate this process. But sociologically, the society is different, right? In Afghanistan. Yeah. So this is what happened to undertake peace development, and in the second period of President Joko Widodo, or we can say in the recent condition in Indonesia, we have to make a big reconciliation, national reconciliation, and it really works. Now the many actors take role and work for creating peace in Indonesia. Yes, there is some critics, but the critics actually be like how the socialism criticize capitalism, but capitalism growth and growth. Yeah, this is what happened in Indonesia. So the political conflict first handled. I think maybe Afghanistan or in Philippines, maybe Sensei Karada maybe can share later on. Without reconciliation in the political conflict, there is no, because after the transformation of democracy or the fall of new order era, in Sensei mentioned about 1998. From 1998 to recent, the social conflict basically is many social conflicts were designed or instrumentalized by warlords or political elites or economical elites to make a bargaining position, etc. Yeah, that is the thing that I and then this is reconciliation is the choice. Sorry. And then make this is the explanation of my the reconciliation. Then create division of labor. I mean, the rivals take in the position in the political structure, yeah, in the ministry and other political structure. And then reconciliation also now is the government is really working on it to a tolerance building, because and the level of elites already solved, but in the society we need to get that. So we make tolerance building. We approach many groups, many religious religious elites, leaders to create these things. So undertaken simultaneously. So because the reconciliation is an option, then zero-sum game closed. We don't want a repeat the bad history of politics in Indonesia, such in the first period or in the second period. The winner takes all. So this is really different approach of the current government in Indonesia, by considering the diverse interests of ethnic groups, religious groups, political groups, etc. Yeah. So this is very normative thing that I showed you before. This is the peace development will be reached by the national strategies, because those things actually are the obstacles. Like human resource development, we have to upscale or upgrade the human resource capacity in Indonesia. The problem is we are now in the era of digital culture, digital society, digital system. So really has the digital system or digital society has a different cultural mechanism, and Indonesia now try to transform the people, the human resource by considering education and digital culture. And then infrastructure development, it is still undertaken, because we have large regions and actually many potentials there, the local business culture. So that's why our Indonesian government continue the project of infrastructure. And the thing is, before this period, infrastructure project is close with corruption. I think Ishan will share about that. During this government, the corruption can be prevented. Yeah, I think there we can find some, but the quality of infrastructure in Indonesia increasing better. That is the thing. So And now, we have the longest toll in the world. In Sumatra, this is the longest toll. And then after the infrastructure development, we have the project deregulations. Actually, my own research about land conflict, there are more than 512 overlapping regulations. 500, and it creates conflict. This regulation, create land conflict, become intractable. So, how to solve that issues? Put off the regulation, actually. The regulation that hamper the effectiveness or efficiency of bureaucracy to handle the land conflict. So and also about the investment process. Yeah. Previously, the investment process needs to pass the long process of license, very long, and the government try to cut that process, and many other dimensions of the regulation. Also the bureaucratization, bureaucratization means how to create a very effective, efficient bureaucracy in Indonesia. And this is one of the project, that because the bureaucracy is the state instrument, the main state instruments in undertaking the public policy and others. Yeah. And then economic transformation. So economic transformation actually is supported by the other strategies. Yeah, means like how to create a job for the young people, and then to create a very sustainable economy in Indonesia. So this is the national strategies to create peace. I think that is my share. Sorry. This is my sharing about how peace and development in Indonesia through the approach of political conflict. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.